Hi, Andrew from SACS. The ancient Greeks used to say that character is destiny. In other words, the way you are has a massive impact on the way your life turns out. And when we're talking about personality, this is absolutely right. Some key points about personality. Personality is sort of universally agreed in the research world to be largely genetically determined. You get arguments between saying 50% genetically determined and let's say 70 to 75%. It doesn't really matter. We all agree that there's a very strong genetic slice to personality. Now, personality has been looked at in history in a range of different ways, but really personality is seen these days as either being a 5-factor characteristic or a 6-factor characteristic. And certainly SACS in our primary research, mainly in partnership with Deakin University, use the HEXACO or 6-factor model of personality because that's good at predicting good things about a person at work, but it's also really good at predicting bad things about a person at work. So let's look at a 6-factor model of personality. You'll see that you have a characteristic here called integrity-modesty. That's the degree to which a person is kind of straightforward, truthful, and non-manipulative. When people have good scores on this, this means that they are more likely to be honest and truthful and straightforward at work. It also correlates negatively with a range of negative outcomes, like going to jail, for instance. People who are low on this tend to go to jail more often, and they also tend to bully and harass more often. Second, we want to talk about emotionality. Emotionality is the degree to which a person is emotionally stable or emotionally unstable. The best employees are in fact emotionally stable because they get less stressed about things and they're much more likely to be resilient. Next, there's extraversion. Extraversion is the degree to which a person is interpersonally confident, they feel that people like them at work, and they're people who tend to enjoy being with other people. They also tend to be optimists, and there are some jobs where it's better to be an extrovert and some jobs where it's better to be an introvert. And then there's this thing called absence of anger. Anger is a negative in workplaces generally. When people are high in anger, it can be shown that they're more likely to bully and harass and have problems with people. So we look for people with manageable levels of anger. Then there's a thing called conscientiousness. Conscientiousness is the degree to which a person is likely to be able to get themselves organised, to commit to hard work, to try hard, and to persist. And also to be more thoughtful in the way that they make their decisions rather than being impulsive. Finally, there's a characteristic called openness to experience. And openness to experience is really how welcoming I am of new things. When a person is open to experience, they're flexible. They are comfortable doing things a new way. If a person is low in that, they're much more likely to be people who are resistant to change and get uncomfortable if they're asked to do things in a way that they're not familiar with. Finally, there's a characteristic called soft-heartedness. And soft-heartedness is not a 7th factor. It's what we call a facet. Those little things are facets and the big things are factors, 6 big factors and a bunch of little facets. But it's a facet that doesn't really fit comfortably in any of the other 6 characteristics. And when people are like this, it means that they're kind of kind and want to help people who are down on their luck. Let's look at what a report looks like in the SACS measurement of personality. You'll see in this report that we have scores, those are numbers. You see that we have an interpretive form of words like low or high or medium. And then we also have an indication of what generally suits employment. So low is better, high is better, and sometimes it depends on the job. So if you're an extrovert, that could be important for certain jobs, but not particularly important for other jobs. What we're trying to do at SACS is to make psych testing extremely easy to interpret. And so that's why we give you these kinds of components and give you indications about high is better and risk ratings and all of those kinds of things. But you'll also see a little eye near certain of the characteristics that we are showing in this report. What that means is that you can click on that little eye and get a video that explains to you exactly what that measure means. So if you're a current user, there's some information about what the reports mean and how to interpret them. But if you're a new user, give us a call and we'll give you a free trial to see if this works for your business.